A hátam mögött lehet látni a
Moving from the southern villages towards north, we arrived to Zeliezovce, where the director of the local museum, Pavel Polka, introduces us the history this part of the region. You can see behind my back the famous, already Europe-wide known Owl Chateau. This is the place where Schubert lived and was watching the young ladies of the town through the windows of his flat. We can say that he stayed here from May to the late autumn. He lived, composed, and entertained in the house behind my back. We are at Zeliezovce. Zeliezovce is known in Slovakia and in the former Czechoslovakia as a prison town. I always used to add that Zeliezovce is famous not just because of the prison and native Hungarian folk festivals, but Zeliezovce has got its history as well. I would start with the Neolithic, as people already lived here 4,000–5,000 years before Christ. Zeliezovce is situated along the river Hron. It's got a good soil, thus people always lived here. We are standing in front of a very interesting cabinet, where you can see a Roman buckle, Roman fibulas and pens, which were called stilus by the Romans. I cannot forget to add that the first work of Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, or also known as To Myself, was written on the area of Slovakia. When I found the two stiluses, which were used by the clerk to write the letters into the tabula rasa, I might assume that Marcus Aurelius could write with them as well. You can see this beautiful fresco in the Catholic Church of Zeliezovce, which was painted around 1385. It is interesting that you can see Becsei Vesszős György on this wall painting, a profane person among Virgin Mary, Jesus Christ and the Lord. It's quite unusual to paint it like this, because it wasn't decent to paint a simple person on a painting. It is well known about Schubert that he appeared only in one place in the area of modern Slovakia, and that was the mansion of Count Johann Karl Esterházy. In 1824, he lived in the room of this museum, which is called Owl Chateau. Schubert was writing letters here to his friends in Vienna, who he was missing a lot. Johann Karl Esterházy, who invited Schubert here, died in 1834. But his wife, Rosina, said, "I won't go back to Vienna, we will live with the girls here in Zeliezovce." And this is how it appeared, but somehow they were missing Vienna. So they invited gardeners from here who created the English park around the mansion. Rosina had another idea in 1842. She wanted to bring a sweet slice of Vienna to Zeliezovce, therefore she invited a fashionable cook from Vienna. This young Jewish guy became a celebrity, Franz Sacher. You pronounce it Sacher in Hungarian. His name evokes the famous Sacher cake. The people of the town have got nice memories of a giant oak tree. It is said that in 1932, when the oak felt it could be around 60 or 70 years old, the tree had a hollow part, which the count let it enlarge, thus they could create a room inside the oak. Approximately 10 or 12 people could enter the room, therefore they called it Wooden Castle. There was a small table and benches around it in the room. It's a fantastic feeling to be in this room, because Schubert lived, created, slept, had breakfast in this room in 1824. As I have already mentioned, Caroline was his platonic love. Caroline was the younger daughter of Johann Karl Esterházy. Of course, because of the huge social difference between them and Schubert's disease, it could be nothing more just a platonic love. But Schubert was a skillful man, and he composed very nice four-handed pieces in Zeliezovce. He didn't write so many four-handed pieces in Vienna. Zeliezovce is situated in Barnes County, and Hont County is just 4 kilometers from here. This is where a white wine called Pesecká Leánka comes from. The wines of Sikenica are also famous. Schubert often walked or rode out to Sikenica, not because there were nicer girls than in Zeliezovce, but Swabian families lived in Sikenica. Up to the present, you can find their families with surnames like Melzer, Snierer, Weiss, Hickel. These are the descendants of the original German families. Schubert was visiting them because he could speak in German with them. There is a story about him. It is not proved, but he was often visiting the Miller's family in Sikenica. The Countess also mentioned in her letter that Schubert started to compose and finished there his work called Die schöne Müllerin, the nice miller's daughter. You can see a painting of Virgin Mary on the wall. I place it on the wall as a memory, as the nicest rewriting of Ave Maria belongs to Schubert, and it is worldwide known. Zeliezovce doesn't look like a big city. It's not a gorgeous town, but we do like it, and those things that happened here have got huge value in the history of the town. It's a fantastic experience to hold in my hands Schubert's glasses. He watched the counts of family through these glasses. It is necessary to tell the story of Johann Karl Esterházy, who died in 1834. Before his death, he went to the hospital in Bratislava to cure his illness. When the doctors told him, "Well, Count, there is a big trouble," then he said to the doctors, "But I am not anybody, doctors. My name is Johann Karl Esterházy, the Galanta. If I died in Bratislava, you wouldn't bury me here, but take my body to Galanta, to the family crypt." 2 days before his death, he could add his last sentence. "Yes, take my body to Galanta, but after my death open my chest, take out my heart, put it into a wooden box, and bring it to the chapel in Zeliezovce." And they did so.
És csak a szívemet vigyétek el Zselízre, kápolnába eltemetni, egy fadobozba, amit meg is tettek.
After the inspection of the town museum, we can check out from inside the former pride of the town, the Esterházy mansion, which waits for a better future. We are in the heart of Esterházy Park in Zeliezovce. We are standing at the entrance of the Esterházy mansion. As you can see, the door is still the original one. It is damaged, but still the original. I'd like to add that the front of the mansion was built in 1804. Till they didn't finish the building, they had called it country house instead of castellum. The rebuilding of the country house, the mansion, was finished in 1804. Schubert entered the mansion on these steps in 1818 to sign his contract with the Count's family. According to his contract, he would teach the Count's daughters Mary and Caroline Esterházy. Schubert signed his contract in this room, and here was the place of the stove, what you can find now in the Museum of Zeliezovce. You can see this door and the piano on the picture above my head. Schubert used to play on the piano. He tried out the work that he had written down in the Owl Chateau. The works what Schubert composed in Zeliezovce were played for the very first time in this room. Many local or foreign visitors come to park and they don't even know that this is the most valuable tree of this park where I am standing now. It is a ginkgo tree. It is used in medicine and cosmetics as well. I am standing next to this biggest tree of the park of Zeliezovce. It is a huge oak tree. They say it might be 300 or 350 years old. If we take into consideration that the hollow tree, which was called Wooden Castle, was approximately 600 years old, and this one is just 300 or 350 years old, nevertheless so big. 4 years ago, when we applied for the award of the Tree of the Year in Slovakia, this oak got the third prize. We won 500 euros. This amount of money was used to rescue and cultivate the tree. Our next stop is the tomb of Esterházy, where the members of the local count's family are buried. We are in the chapel of Esterházy, which is a mausoleum as well in the same time. If you look around, you can see that there are 12 burial places prepared for the members of the Esterházy family. Out of the 12 burial places, one has been left empty. You can read on these marble boards who was buried here. Probably the most important are Johann Karl Esterházy and his wife Rosina Esterházy de Galanta, Nee Festetic, who came from tonw country. Esterházy's heart is built into wall.
Ha megnézzük jobban, akkor el lehet olvasni a falon azt a feliratot, ami minden turistát megihlet, mert fent van a feliraton rá.
His wife died 30 years later. They knocked down the wall, placed her coffin in the burial place, and put up a wall. This place is visited by Japanese, French, Spanish tourists. All of them want to know where Schubert's Love is buried.
A ő koporsóját, azután, hogy kibontották a falat, becsúsztatták a pozícióba és visszafalaszták. Japán, francia, spanyol turisták járnak ide, mindig ezt keresik, hogy hol van a Schubert szerelme eltemetve. A Schubert szerelme a oltár mellett.
His love is on the right side of the altar, where is written Grenville Folliot, Nee Caroline Esterházy de Galanta, Countess. We haven't mentioned yet that after the platonic love with Schubert, Caroline Esterházy got married after all. Her husband's name was Charles Grenville Folliot. Unfortunately, he focused more on military events and spending of money than on his family. They didn't have any children. On the other side, you can see the burial place of two girls, Luisa and Josefina. They passed away in their childhood and were also members of the Esterházy family. The last count of Zeliezovce, Kuno Count, rests on the eastern side of the altar.
Déli oldalán, vagy a keleti oldalán, bocsánat, gróf Kuno Coudenhove nyugszik, aki az